Ninja One understands that IT teams today are stretched thin, trying to manage too many disconnected tools. So they built a platform that brings them all together. Ninja One unifies endpoint management, autonomous patching, backup, and remote access into a single intelligent platform. That means fewer tools, lower costs, higher efficiency, and a team that has the bandwidth and confidence to stay ahead. Unify IT to simplify work with Ninja One. Learn more at ninjaone.com.
Hey, what's up? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of English with Dane, a podcast designed to make you enjoy the process of improving your English. As always, I'm your host, Dane, and you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at English with Dane. Today, I have a super relevant article for this time of the year. We're approaching New Year's Day, a time where we set expectations for the following year and where we have a list of things we want to accomplish. It's a weird time for me because I tend to put too much pressure on myself when it comes to resolutions, and I end up shooting myself in the foot with overambitious life changes I tell myself I need to make. I came across this article the other day, and while the title is pretty clickbaity, I thought it was helpful and also fun because of the irreverent way in which it's written. We're going to split it up, lo vamos a dividir. We're going to split it up into two parts because I don't want you to tire yourself out with it, and I want you to keep some gas in the tank for the second part. I'll put a link to the full article in the description, though, as always, for you eager beavers that want to read it all in one sitting or just on your own time. Por cierto, me encanta esa expresión, an eager beaver, beaver as in castor. An eager beaver is a person who is very enthusiastic and ready to jump in, often in a way that is just much more than what is necessary. So, this article is about ways that we sabotage ourselves when it comes to our goals and our ambitions. It's meant to be liberating, not self chastising. Self chastising is the act of being too hard on yourself. In Spanish, we'd say like fustigarse o machacarse, or simplemente just ser muy duro con uno mismo. Self chastising. So that's not the point of this article, okay? Don't be too hard on yourselves. What I also like about this article is that it's written as if it were just like a close friend talking to you. It's not formal, it's sincere and pretty colloquial. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's do this. You are listening to episode 34 of season 2 of English with Dane. Hit it. All right, that's the music, so you know we have officially started the show. This article is called 5 Ways You're Sabotaging Your Own Life Without Knowing It, written by Jason Pargin. Let's go. When you were little and people asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up, what did you tell them? Did you stick with the standard doctor or veterinarian, or did you shoot for the moon with pop star or astronaut? Whatever it was, I'd say for about 95% of you, the answer is hilarious in retrospect. I told my parents I wanted to outfunk Prince. Now here's the question. When people ask you the same thing now, phrased as, what are your long-term goals? Or where do you see yourself in 10 years? Will your answer look just as stupid 10 years from now? For most of us, yeah, it will. Somewhere along the line, that train always gets derailed. Me encanta esa frase, by the way. Somewhere along the line. It's a good way of saying en algún momento o por el camino. Somewhere along the line. Seguimos. So, at some point, that train always gets derailed. Well, fortunately, I've had the opportunity to study numerous such derailings, descarrilamientos, derailings up close, and here are the most common causes. Number 5, focusing on how to accomplish something instead of why. Try something for me. Get up and go to an empty part of the floor and position your body so that it's like you're riding an invisible motorcycle. Knees bent, dobladas, knees bent at about a 90-degree angle, arms out. You can make engine noises with your mouth if you want. Look at the clock and hold that position as long as you possibly can until the pain in your thighs, en tus muslos, in your thighs, becomes too unbearable. Note how long you lasted, cuánto duraste. Some of you won't last 30 seconds because why would you? This is stupid and it hurts. We'll come back to that in a moment. Now, let's say you want to help somebody quit smoking. Which do you think would be more effective of these two? A. Showing them a scare tactic ad talking about why they need to quit, photos of tumors on diseased lungs, all that shit. B. Showing them a video full of good advice about how to quit, including tons of helpful tips to walk them through it, para ayudarles a navegarlo, to walk them through it. Quote, by day 3, you'll have the urge to use a crutch to cope with the nicotine withdrawal. Don't, end quote. Which one do you think works? The second one, right? The first is just manipulative bullshit. The second is imparting actual helpful knowledge. But you're wrong. A recent study found that why ads made a huge difference in helping people quit, where the how ads did nothing whatsoever. Here's the reason, and this is crucial because a huge portion of the modern economy is hoping you don't figure this out. No one who wants to change their habits fails because they don't know how to do it. No one. See, if they want to do it bad enough, figuring out how is nothing more than a trivial first step. And with most things, the method is unimportant. That's why diet fads, modas, diet fads, fads spelled F-A-D-S, that's why diet fads come and go every few months, and we never stumble across the one magical method that works better than all the others. To stumble across means toparse, okay? That's why fads come and go every few months, and we never stumble across the one magical method that works better than all the others. The method is never the issue. We just focus on it to hide the fact that we don't really want to do it. I know a guy who lost 40 pounds on Atkins. No, you know a guy who wanted to lose weight bad enough that he was willing to tightly regulate what he ate every day. If he'd chosen to just cut calories, that would have worked too. No sé si te acuerdas, pero the Atkins diet, llamada así por el tío que la popularizó, and he told people to avoid carbohydrates, okay? Seguimos. Another quote. By day 3, you'll have the urge to use a crutch to cope with the pizza withdrawal. Don't. Allow me to illustrate with a particularly ridiculous example: the fitness industry. Exercise machines are a $4.5 billion industry. Treadmills are the top seller, and health clubs account for another $27 billion. How many of those people paid the money because they convinced themselves this would be the thing that would finally turn them into the type of person who exercises? Here's a hint. 2/3 of people with gym memberships never go. It's not just a lie that we're telling ourselves. It's a ridiculous lie. A toddler could see through it. To see through a lie, by the way, is to see that it is bullshit, basically. If someone is a bad liar, you see right through their lies. Seguimos. You know damned well that it doesn't require 1 penny's worth of equipment to get in shape. You can do every single necessary exercise on your floor right now in the nude. Remember when you were sitting on your invisible motorcycle and your thighs screamed for you to stop after like 1 minute? That searing pain in your legs is the same thing you'll feel with a $1,000 elliptical machine. I just gave it to you for free. But that was incredibly tedious and painful. I don't want to spend every day doing things like that. I know. Me neither. So stop fooling yourself. Searing pain, by the way, is just a way to say a burning, intolerable pain. Sear is a verb that we usually use for meat, which I think translates to sellar when you cook the outside part of a steak, for example. Let's keep going. Now try this. Go back to that invisible motorcycle pose again. Only this time, hire a stranger to point a gun at your skull, with instructions to blow your brains out unless you double your previous time. Pretend it's a Sons of Anarchy episode or something. You'll do it, no problem. You'll blast through all of those impossible to tolerate pain thresholds like the Kool-Aid Man. See, because now the why is taken care of, you're doing it so you don't get shot. So here's the secret, the thing that has been plainly obvious all along. Those people out there who are accomplishing great things and seem to get 50 hours worth of work done every day, they're doing it because they have a gun pointed to their head, an imaginary gun pressed against their temple all day, every day. Number 4, not thinking about what part of you will die. What I hate about articles like this is that they're always trying to guilt you into bettering yourself. What are you doing sitting on your sofa eating ice cream, you lazy bag of Dorito farts? Get off your ass and go become the high-achieving Superman you know you can be. That pisses me off because I know exactly why I'm on the sofa eating ice cream. It's because I've had a hard day and this makes me feel better, so fuck you. Even if what I'm doing is a frivolous waste of time, I'm doing it for a reason. Superman can eat shit. I'm eating mocha fudge. But that is another thing that almost everyone ignores when trying to fix something in their life, and it will always come back to bite them. Si algo comes back to bite you, es como que te juega una mala pasada, okay? Seguimos. Let's stick with the theme and say you decide to get in shape. If you're already an athlete, replace it with learn to speak Japanese or whatever. Let's say you're going to take up running. You've read the above entry, so you've picked one that doesn't cost anything, unless you don't already own shoes. You figure you'll run around the park every morning and motivate yourself with the knowledge that you're going to lose weight. You're going to have more energy, you're going to feel better, and it won't cost a dime. And when you steel yourself for this task, cuando te endureces, steel as in acero con doble E, when you steel yourself for this task, you anticipate most of it fairly easily. You know you're going to sweat, you know you're going to be sore, but what will trip you up, lo que te va a ralentizar, what will trip you up and make you quit isn't any of that. It's the one thing you didn't think about. What you lose by running. Because what you will lose is whatever you were going to do instead of running. And whether you know it or not, every single thing you're doing right now is valuable to you. But I spent 2 hours yesterday staring at my ceiling and making fart noises with my mouth. Right, but you did it for a reason. You were filling some need. Maybe it's just stress relief. I don't know. But I know that you did it because in that moment, you didn't want to do anything else. So our runner says, I'll run in the mornings before work. Okay, so you're getting up 2 hours earlier than you are now. You don't need that 2 hours of sleep? I beg to differ. If you're sleeping, you need it. That's how it works. I'll just go to bed earlier. Okay, so what have you been doing during those late night hours? Hanging out with friends, browsing the internet, watching TV, reading a book, whatever it is, you'll miss it. It sounds obvious like most of the things I say, but I literally never hear people phrase it this way. Everybody takes on a project and expresses it as a pure addition to their life. It's, I've decided I'm finally going to learn the saxophone, instead of, I've decided I'm going to learn the saxophone instead of hanging out with my girlfriend. Now go find the most successful person you know. Talk to them about their average week and listen closely to what they don't have. They either don't have friends, or kids, or hobbies, or they don't keep up with pop culture, or something that you actually consider very valuable to your own life. Their day is only 24 hours long, just like yours. There is no such thing as adding to it, just sacrificing one thing for another. This is why the "stop wasting your time and go improve your life, maggot" method doesn't work. You're fooling yourself if you think you can find a bunch of extra time by drawing from a pool of hours you're wasting right now. It doesn't exist. Instead, you have to make the cold calculation that you're going to do this instead of that. I'm going to go back to finish my degree instead of spending time with my friends. I'm going to spend more time with my partner and less time working, understanding that this will make me poorer. I'm going to climb a mountain and neglect my family while I train. Otherwise, it's no different from planning a budget that assumes you'll have twice as much money as you actually make. If you want to become a different person, part of it is deciding which parts of you need to die. The next part is number 3, pretending you'll magically become someone else. I recently wrote this 60-second quiz that I would encourage everyone to go try if they haven't already. If you don't like clicking on links, I'll give you a spoiler. Most people have an unspoken belief that in the long term, they'll be a completely different person than they were today. Anything is possible. The guy with the dead-end customer service job, cuando alguien dice dead end, es como que no tiene mucho futuro, ¿vale? The guy with the dead-end customer service job says one day he'd like to work in IT, but didn't spend even 1 minute today learning about computers, or yesterday, or the day before. He hasn't signed up for a course or made plans to. He just has a vague notion that in 10 years he'll be at a desk with a well-paying computer job, with the unspoken assumption that at some point during the nebulous haze of the intervening decade, he'll have evolved into the type of person who devotes a lot of energy to learning computer things. A nebulous haze, por cierto, is a state that feels like vague or hard to define. Haze is like fog or mist, okay? Niebla. Seguimos. That guy I'm describing is me, of course, circa 1998. But every obese person imagines themselves a decade from now having become thin. Every coward imagines they'll be brave. You get the idea. There's never a defined plan for how to get from point A to point Z, and never an acknowledgement of the unbearable truth, which is that who you're going to be 10 years from now is just who you are today times 3,652. If you spend a good part of today playing iPhone games, then 10 years from now, you'll be a person who's super good at iPhone games, or as good as your wallet will allow you to be. That's not a judgment, there are worse things to be. But the point is, if you're kind of a laid-back, low-energy type today, you're not going to suddenly turn into a superhuman dynamo next year or the year after unless you start doing meth or something. If you have anger issues today, you'll have them 10 years from now. If you don't know Kung Fu today, you won't know it in 2035. But if you're learning Kung Fu today, well, then we've got something. But I do want to learn Kung Fu, I just don't have time. Nope, stop. Don't make me backtrack. If you had the gun to your head, you'd goddamn well find the time. If you can't make yourself start in the next 24 hours, you wouldn't do it even if you had 24 lifetimes. Bueno, ahí ya va la siguiente parte, but we're going to leave it here for today. Next episode will feature the last 2 ways in which we sabotage ourselves, but like I said in the intro, I don't want to overwhelm you with vocabulary, and I don't want you to tire yourself out too much. So we're going to leave it here, and we'll finish it next time. I hope you're liking it so far. I thought it was a fun read, and honestly a pretty refreshing way to think about the goals that we set for ourselves and how we often kid ourselves. To kid means engañar, okay? That's where kidding comes from, to kid. So yeah, I hope you got something from that, and I hope it helps you figure out how you want to go about or approach any goals that you might have for the upcoming year. Let me know if you enjoy these article read-along episodes, because I really like putting them together for you. I think they're a fun way to practice and also a nice deviation from English learning-based themes. As always, if you like this episode, share it with someone you think would also enjoy it, and don't be shy to share your feedback, whether it's in the comments section of the episode itself or in the form of an impromptu message on Instagram, TikTok, or even in the form of an email. You know, I always love to hear from you guys, and that I greatly value and appreciate your feedback, positive or not. All right, talk soon. Have a great week. Later.